speaking of hot, since you mentioned cold, Dak Prescott, and we got into it with Greg Jennings. Greg Jennings saying right now that Dak Prescott would be his MVP.
I didn't want to give Greg the business because he was concentrating on bowling. I gave him the benefit of the doubt that he's a little off because he said that Daniel Jones was the best quarterback in the league, or what was he best? Top 10 quarterback, and now Dak's the MVP. So his quarterbacking is off.
Dak is fifth, Rob, in the Fox Sports odds for MVP. Tua's fourth. Mahomes is third. Lamar is second, or I don't know if those two are switched, Lamar and Mahomes. And Jalen Hurts is number one right now. Brock Purdy number 6. These are the Fox Sports odds. But Rob G, Micah Parsons, the teammate for Dak Prescott, he tweeted out his support today, huh?
Yeah, actually it was late last night. And Micah Parsons shared a graphic that CBS Sports had tweeted out comparing the season.
Did he give CBS credit?
No, he just quote tweeted it. Comparing the season-long stats between Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes. Now, both guys are 8-3 on their teams, but Dak, at least in these statistics, is far and away having a superior season than Patrick Mahomes. Passing yards, TD to interception ratio, passer rating, completion percentage, all in favor of Dak Prescott, which led Parsons to tweet out, but y'all on here trying to convince me Dak is not top 3 in MVP. Make it make sense.
So, Rob, we talked about it a week and a half ago. I said Dak should be in the conversation. I've been saying Jalen Hurts.
Is he better than Patrick Mahomes, MVP, Chris? Right, I'm going to ask you.
He's having a better year.
Okay.
He is having a better individual year. Now, we can blame it on Mahomes not really having great receivers or even good receivers for the most part outside of Travis Kelce. But individually, yeah, Dak's having a better year than Patrick Mahomes. He's not better than him, but he has been playing better statistically than Patrick Mahomes this year. I'd agree with that. Like, I wouldn't give – Mahomes is my preseason pick, and I still think he's got a chance to win it because, I think these last 6-7 weeks are going to go a long way in determining who's the MVP. And if he gets hot and people know, man, he don't even have any really good receivers, and he gets hot, then he could win it. But I think Dak's firmly in the running. I disagree with Greg that he should be the leader. But I do think he has a shot because, again, look, they got a tough schedule, Rob. And I agree with you that to be the MVP, I mean, you got to beat some good teams. And, Rob, they've got the third weakest strength of victories in the league. Meaning the teams they've beaten have the third worst.
That matters, Chris.
Anybody.
That matters. I don't care. Greg can act like it doesn't, and you just got to play who's on the schedule, and that's fine. Chris, you can pile up numbers. But when people look at you and they try to determine like where you fit in on MVP, because I've said this before, go look. Matthew Stafford, Chris, is the fastest quarterback to almost every record in the NFL.
Right.
He put up unbelievable numbers. They're down 21-0 in the first quarter, and he's throwing the rest of the game with a soft coverage in front of his receivers.
Right,
correct?
Right.
Put up numbers, scored touchdowns that were late, that didn't matter, that didn't factor in. He didn't win any MVPs. He didn't.
I think the thing is, though, like, and that has been an issue for Dak in the past. We've talked about it. Few years ago, remember when the year before people thought, oh, he might throw for 6,000 yards, and he's throwing for all those yards. That was in comebacks, rallies, when they were down big and teams went prevent and all that.
Well,
that's
Chris,
not the case this year.
Well, let me give you this.
This year he's putting up legitimate numbers. Now they're wasting a bunch of I call them tomato cans. They have yet to be the team with a winning record. But, Rob, here's the deal. Quickly, before I know you want to go.
I just got numbers. Go ahead.
They got Seattle tomorrow night, then Philadelphia, then Buffalo, Miami, and Detroit. And then they finish off with the Commanders. So he's going to have his opportunity. And if he gets through that gauntlet and they're 4-1 through that 5-game stretch or whatever it might be, 3-2 maybe even, if he is still putting up big numbers, then I think he's got a good shot at getting it. But we'll see. I mean, that's the good thing is we don't have to speculate and say, oh, well, if he played some good teams, he still will put up good numbers.
He's got good teams
to
play.
He's got them coming up, and it's going to all, come out in the wash, as they say.
And, Chris, this year, you correct me if I'm wrong, you thought Tom Brady should have won the MVP the year that Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he was my pick.
No, I'm just saying that was right.
Yeah.
That was but you made the case, and this is what I'm trying to get to.
That was 2021, right?
Okay. Yeah. Brady had more yards, Chris, 5,300 to 4,100. More touchdowns, 43 to 37. More yards per game, 312 to 257. Both teams won 13 games, okay? Where Rodgers was ahead of Brady was passer rating, 111.9, Chris, to 102.1. And Brady threw 12 interceptions. Rodgers only threw 4. Okay, now I gave you the other numbers. Tom Brady led in a lot of numbers. So it should have been a close vote, right? It wasn't.
But
you know what the vote was?
I think that's different, though.
But you know what the vote was? 39.
I know that.
39 for Rodgers, 10 for Brady, and Cooper
here's
Kupp
the thing,
got 1.
though. Rodgers' numbers were better. People know now. Look, passing yards per game is not always indicative of great play. Now,
no, I agree.
They were winning that
agree.
year. You know what I mean? You saw it all those years with Matthew Stafford. But Dak's numbers are legit. Like, you see it. Tom Brady's passer rating was only 102. He's only 67%. That's good, but Dak's completing 70% of his passes. His passer rating is like 107. Like, his numbers are legit. These are not, makeshift numbers that he's put up just against bad teams. He's actually he had the bad game against San Francisco. But against Philly, he played well. And so, again, it's going to come out in the wash because he's got tough teams coming up. But I don't think Dak's numbers are fugazi this year. He's second to Brock Purdy in passer rating. And he's got a nice, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Like, he's second in touchdowns, and he's hadn't thrown a lot of picks. So, Dak deserves credit. He's playing well, but
I don't think he's in the top 3 like Micah Parsons. I don't. I think there are people ahead of him. You just said it. Brock Purdy, if you're going to go by that, and I know he doesn't have as many but he has a better passer rating than Dak, and he's even behind because he had the 3 bad games. He's not really.
And his numbers are ahead of better than Dak's.
That's what I'm
completion percentage.
And he's 6th. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right,
is like
right.
Like how can he be? How could Dak be top 3? The guy behind him has better numbers, a better passer rating. And if Jalen Hurts, what are they, 10-1?
Purdy's beating good teams.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the difference. And again, that to me, the biggest knock on Dak is that you haven't beaten anybody. Now, it's impressive, Rob, and I mean this. I joke about it. I call them tomato cans, which they are. But, Rob, when you play an inferior team, what you're supposed to do is pound them. And they do. So I don't like belittle that because Philadelphia lets them hang around. Kansas City lets them hang around. Some of the other top teams occasionally let teams hang around. So it's impressive. The problem is that they got smashed. If they had lost to San Francisco by a touchdown, Rob, I think people feel differently right now about the Cowboys and Dak. They got destroyed.
But that's a narrative that people have about him. So whenever it happens,
right,
they can't shake it. Chris, would you admit that?
Because he was bad in that game with the 3 interceptions.
So that's why, like, your first thing is you turn off to Dak and you go, here we go, another big game, and he wet the bed. So he's not a big game player. No matter what he ain't a big game player. Right. Every time there's a big game, oh yeah, of course he's gonna whoop up on the Giants or the Jets or whatever he did, because those teams are bad. And you're right, he has a chance down the stretch to see what he's made of. And if he has another bad game against a good team, you could almost kiss it goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, look, Philly, he's played well against. But look, like I said, to me, it's perfect because all the arguing can cease. We're going to see what he can do against some of these top teams. And I think tomorrow's a good test. Seattle's not great, but they're legit. They're good. So it'll be a good test for him. And then he's got Philadelphia the week after that.